Native Americans have been misrepresented horribly throughout the history of cinema and television. I mean, I had a very, very close relationship with the Comanche Nation, and the Navajo allowed us into their world as well.
Johnny Depp, a name once synonymous with wild allure and unforgettable roles, once again finds the world watching him. But this time, not because of the dazzling glow of a star, but because of turns of fate no one could have foreseen. From the haunting melancholy of Edward Scissorhands to the reckless, untamed swagger of Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, Depp built a legacy that made him one of the most enigmatic and captivating faces in Hollywood. And yet, like a paradox, the light of fame was never enough to shield him from the darkness of his private life. Behind the stage curtain lay broken relationships, a career in decline, years shadowed by doubt, and the earth-shaking legal battle with Amber Heard, where the entire world held its breath. And just when people thought the storm had passed, that Depp had finally reclaimed some peace, another twist emerged, leaving audiences stunned. Because behind every Hollywood legend lies a quiet beginning, a hidden story few ever see. And Johnny Depp's life is perhaps the clearest proof of that. Before becoming a screen legend, Johnny Depp was just a lost, fragile boy in the midst of a turbulent childhood. He was born on June 9, 1963, in Owensboro, Kentucky, into an ordinary working-class family. But peace was always too fragile. From an early age, Depp grew accustomed to moving constantly, more than 20 relocations from town to town, as if he were nothing more than luggage tossed about in an endless storm. Each time he packed his belongings into boxes, left an old house behind, and stepped into a strange new place, Johnny felt he was losing a piece of his roots. If constant moving only robbed him of stability, it was the atmosphere at home that carved the deepest wound into his soul. The house, which should have been a refuge, was filled with endless arguments, the slamming of doors, and the suffocating silence of sorrow. For Johnny, that was the soundtrack of his childhood. When his parents officially divorced, he was only 15. There was no relief, only collapse. Later, Depp would call it a volcanic trauma, not a poetic metaphor, but the raw truth of a childhood exploding in pain. After the separation, his mother Betty Sue remarried. His stepfather, Robert Palmer, quietly entered Depp's life and became one of the few anchors of stability. But the emotional wreckage of those early years was beyond repair. In that void, a birthday gift at age 12 became a lifeline, a guitar. Johnny never saw it as just an instrument. For him, every string was a breath, every chord a wound turned into sound. The guitar became his only friend, the one that listened without judgment, without abandonment. Music quickly became the private language of this lonely teenager. In garages, thick with cigarette smoke, amid the pounding of drums and the sweat-soaked energy of high school bands, Johnny found shelter. It was the only place he didn't feel abandoned. School, on the other hand, felt like a prison. At Miramar High, he wandered through hallways and classrooms like a shadow, detached, adrift, even defiant. At 16, Johnny decided to drop out. Instead of punishing him, the principal looked at him with an unusual gaze and said a line that felt like prophecy. "Go out and live with your art." And Depp did exactly that. With a guitar in hand, Johnny did not dream of fame or spotlights. For him, music was simply anesthesia, the only way to numb the pain of a broken home and haunting memories of childhood. But from that vague yearning, destiny suddenly shifted, leading him down a road he himself had never imagined. After leaving school, Johnny plunged into music as if it were the only thread keeping him tied to life. In Florida and later Los Angeles, he played in several bands, most notably The Kids, a young rock group that attracted attention when they opened for big names like Talking Heads, Ramones, and Iggy Pop. Small stages, cigarette smoke, screaming guitars, that was where Depp felt free. But the rock dream was never smooth. The kids eventually disbanded, giving way to a new name, Six Gun Method, and later Depp joined Rock City Angels, co-writing the song Mary. Despite his passion, those bands could not lift Depp out of hardship. Gigs were too few and paid too little to cover bills. He scraped by however he could, working by day selling pens over the phone, posing as a part-time model, even sleeping in friends' cars. These were months when the dream of music burned brightly, but his pockets grew emptier by the day. It was during this harsh period that Depp entered his first marriage. In 1983, at just 20, he married Lori Ann Allison, a makeup artist 6 years his senior. The marriage lasted only 2 years, but it led to a turning point. It was Lori who introduced Depp to her friend, Nicolas Cage. Cage sensed something different in Depp, an inexplicable magnetism, and encouraged him to try acting. At first, Depp brushed it off, never having considered becoming an actor. But Cage persisted, introducing him to an agent and planting in him a new belief. Perhaps cinema was the escape he had never dared imagine. The first opportunity came unexpectedly. In 1984, Depp was cast in Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street. Amusingly, it was Craven's daughter who, when shown the casting photos, pointed at Depp and said, "He's handsome. He fits the part." And so Depp landed his first screen role, a teenager devoured by a bed in the iconic scene with 500 gallons of fake blood flooding from a rotating set. It was both absurd and iconic, signaling that a new path had opened. After Elm Street, Depp took on a few more small roles. He appeared in Private Resort, a teen comedy that barely made a mark, and in 1986, he joined Oliver Stone's Platoon. But even there, Depp was the extra man out on set. Stone later admitted he cut much of Depp's footage because his presence was too distracting, pulling attention away from the main characters. Music was still part of him, but gradually the light of cinema began to consume Johnny Depp. And from a boy clutching a guitar to escape his pain, he was about to become a face Hollywood could no longer ignore. By 1987, Johnny Depp was unexpectedly cast in the television series 21 Jump Street. In the role of young officer Tom Hansen, a cop going undercover as a student to crack down on crime, Depp quickly became a teenage idol. The weekly episodes put his face on every magazine, and posters of him covered the bedroom walls of millions of American girls. His salary at the time was about $45,000 per episode, a dream figure for a young man who had once slept in friends' cars. Yet instead of enjoying the spotlight, Depp felt trapped inside a box. The episodes, filled with moral PSA-style messages, made him uncomfortable, and he flatly refused many scripts he thought were fake. On set, Depp acted out, broke rules, and tried everything to rebel against the formula. Still, he was locked into a 4-season contract, unable to escape. The more famous he became, the more suffocated he felt. In one interview, he blurted out a shocking line, "I'd rather pump gas than keep doing TV." It was not just a complaint, but a desperate cry from an artist who felt he was being turned into a commercial product. At one point, he even trashed his trailer on set, hoping to get fired. But his fame was too valuable. The producers would not let him go. Only when Tim Burton appeared did a real door finally open. The eccentric director saw in Depp what television never could, a fragile soul, a quiet sadness. And Burton gave him the role of Destiny, Edward Scissorhands. That character not only freed Depp from the golden cage of 21 Jump Street, but also ushered him into a new era where Hollywood began to realize he was not just a pretty boy idol for teenagers, but a true artist. As soon as he broke free from the golden cage of 21 Jump Street, Johnny Depp began a quiet but fierce rebellion. He teamed up with John Waters in Cry Baby, 1990, a satire of the very teen idol image Hollywood had forced on him. With slicked-back hair, a gaze both cocky and absurd, Depp turned the character into self-parody, as if declaring he would never be confined to teenage posters. But the real turning point came when Depp met Tim Burton. In Edward Scissorhands, 1990, he embodied a boy with scissors for hands, a role with almost no dialogue, defined instead by awkward gestures, melancholy eyes, and trembling movements. The film was a fusion of fairy tale and modern loneliness, with Depp as its beating heart. Both a critical and commercial triumph, and earning him a Golden Globe nomination, it not only rescued Depp from the shadow of TV heartthrob, but also launched a creative partnership with Burton that would last decades. After Edward Scissorhands, Depp firmly chose eccentric, fragile roles, the outsiders Hollywood often ignored. In Benny and June, 1993, he played an innocent young man expressing love through mime, evoking the spirit of Charlie Chaplin. Arizona Dream, 1993, plunged him into a surreal world, at once comic and bewildering, where his character wandered between dream and reality. In What's Eating Gilbert Grape, 1993, Depp became the film's quiet soul, the older brother who suppressed his own desires to carry the weight of his family, even as public attention went to Leonardo DiCaprio's performance as his mentally disabled brother. Then, in Don Juan DeMarco, 1994, Depp unsettled audiences again by portraying a young man convinced he was the legendary lover Don Juan, dreamy, wavering between delusion and the longing for love. All of these roles had one thing in common. They were not meant to make Depp famous, but to allow him to be himself, an artist, channeling loneliness and exposing inner fractures untouched by stardom. After this series of outsider roles that defined his style, Johnny Depp pushed further with projects that seemed to run against the current of Hollywood. In 1994, he collaborated again with Tim Burton on Ed Wood. In another director's hands, the role could have been cheap comedy, but Depp played it with absolute sincerity. As Ed Wood, the filmmaker derided as the worst in history, yet burning with passion, Depp refused to mock him. Instead, he honored his innocence and desperate belief. Critics hailed the film as a love letter to failed dreamers, and it won Martin Landau an Academy Award for his portrayal of Bela Lugosi, proof of the power of collaborative artistry. Immediately after, Depp veered off again with Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man, 1995, a black-and-white western steeped in philosophy and mysticism, utterly alien to Hollywood formulas. As William Blake, a clerk turned outlaw, Depp wandered as a spectral figure between life and death, between mythical America and a surreal world. Dead Man was no blockbuster, but it gradually became a cult art house classic. By the late 1990s, Depp appeared in a range of diverse works that showcased his rare versatility. Roman Polanski's The Ninth Gate, 1999, cast him as a rare book detective drawn into a vortex of the occult. That same year, he reunited with Tim Burton in Sleepy Hollow, a grand Gothic horror that won an Oscar for art direction and cemented the Burton-Depp duo as Hollywood's oddball creative partnership. Entering the new century, Depp showed no signs of slowing down. In Chocolate, 2000, he melted hearts as a charming gypsy alongside Juliette Binoche. In Before Night Falls, 2000, he even took on two small roles, a corrupt policeman and a drag queen, just to challenge himself. With From Hell, 2001, he portrayed Inspector Aberline in the story of Jack the Ripper, blending cold detachment with inner torment. The pinnacle came with Blow, 2001, where Depp transformed into George Jung, the notorious cocaine trafficker, delivering the now famous improvised line, "That is not cocaine, it's powdered sugar." The role brought him back to deeply tragic characters, reflecting the dark corners Depp was always drawn to explore. Along the way, he also appeared in Nick of Time, 1995, a real-time action thriller often overlooked, but a sign of Depp's willingness to experiment with every genre. During this period, Depp did not choose the easy road. He deliberately stepped into risky projects where the line between art and failure was razor thin. But it was precisely these choices that preserved his identity. Not as a star chasing box office numbers, but as an artist forever seeking to portray lost souls. After nearly 2 decades of defining himself through eccentric roles, in 2003, Johnny Depp stepped into what seemed like nothing more than a commercial experiment: Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. The film, inspired by the Disneyland ghost ship ride, was not expected to achieve much. Even Disney itself doubted the decision to cast Depp in the lead role, for what they got was a captain who looked more drunk than the classic hero they had imagined. Studio executives were baffled when they saw Jack Sparrow staggering, slurring his words, and behaving in ways far from their blueprint. But Depp was adamant. He wanted his character to have a soul of his own, modeled after the swagger of Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, mixed with the cartoonish slyness of Pepe Le Pew. His creativity did not stop at acting. Depp personally designed the backstory for every detail of Sparrow's costume, each bead, each dreadlock tied to a story only he knew. He wore tinted contact lenses to avoid blinking under the sun, steered boats himself for authenticity, and even paid out of pocket to have his teeth capped in gold, exactly as he envisioned for a pirate who was both ruined and seductive. On set, many iconic lines were improvised by Depp himself, from the smirk and savvy to the closing, "Bring me that horizon," as the ship sailed out to sea. Disney once threatened to force him to act properly or change his style, but Depp flatly declared he would walk away if Jack Sparrow were stripped of the essence he had created. History proved him right. The Curse of the Black Pearl became a global explosion, grossing between $564 and $654 million. The role not only earned Depp an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, a rare honor for a comedy-adventure character, but also turned Jack Sparrow into a pop culture icon. Children everywhere dressed up as Sparrow, imitating his drunken swagger, while Hans Zimmer's score blared like a new anthem, so popular as a ringtone that Depp once joked he heard it in airports around the world. Jack Sparrow was not just a role, but a testament to Johnny Depp's spirit of rebellion and hunger for freedom, a man willing to defy an entire studio to protect the soul of his character. From that moment, Depp was no longer just a star, he became a living legend of the 21st century. After the colossal success of the first film, Disney could not resist turning Pirates of the Caribbean into a franchise. Dead Man's Chest, 2006, surpassed all expectations, grossing over $1 billion worldwide, one of the few films at the time to reach that milestone. Just a year later, At World's End 2007 was released, filmed back-to-back to capitalize on the momentum. But behind the scenes was chaos. Storms destroyed sets, a giant water tank collapsed, and the crew had barely 10 weeks to finish post-production, an unforgiving schedule for a mega-budget blockbuster. The result, though financially massive, left many viewers complaining about the overly heavy, convoluted plot that diluted the original charm. The later installments only revealed the fatigue. On Stranger Tides, 2011, was marketed as a relaunch to refresh the franchise, but grew increasingly bloated, losing the mischievous spark of the original. Dead Men Tell No Tales, 2017, sometimes misreported as 2015 in certain sources, laid bare the formula's repetition. Jack Sparrow was no longer surprising, but a tired version of himself. Parallel to the pirate storm, Johnny Depp kept experimenting. He appeared in Once Upon a Time in Mexico with Robert Rodriguez and in Secret Window, 2004, a psychological thriller that scored only 46% on Rotten Tomatoes. In contrast, Finding Neverland, 2004, where Depp played playwright J.M. Barrie with a moving Scottish accent, earned him another Academy Award nomination and showed a subtler side of his acting. In his collaborations with Tim Burton, Depp continued to madly transform the screen. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2005, featured a Willy Wonka steeped in Burton's eccentricity, dividing audiences but proving Depp's willingness to take risks. He also voiced a role in the animated Corpse Bride. The creative pinnacle of this era was Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, 2007. Depp sang the entire musical score himself, a daunting task, and won a Golden Globe for Best Actor. Yet the film was heavily criticized for its violence and moral distortion in turning tragedy into a bloody ballad. He didn't stop there. Depp portrayed legendary gangster John Dillinger in Public Enemies, 2009, with scenes shot on original historical locations for authenticity. The film grossed $214 million against a $100 million budget and, according to some sources, received up to 9 Oscar nominations. That same year, when Heath Ledger suddenly died during the filming of The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, Depp, along with Jude Law and Colin Farrell, stepped in to complete the unfinished role. Notably, all three donated their entire salaries to Ledger's young daughter, Matilda, a quiet but deeply humane tribute. At this stage, Johnny Depp embodied a living paradox, both a billion-dollar box office star and an artist endlessly yearning to escape the very stardom he had achieved. And it was this constant tension that shaped the conflicted path of his next decade. After the transformative 2000s, Johnny Depp entered the new decade with an explosion. Alice in Wonderland, 2010, his next project with Tim Burton, turned him into the eccentric Mad Hatter, and though not the central character, Depp nearly stole the spotlight. The film relied almost entirely on green screen technology, to the point where Burton himself admitted it was the greatest challenge of his career. The outcome exceeded all expectations. Global box office surpassed $1 billion, cementing Depp's place among the rare actors with unmatched box office draw. That same year, Depp appeared alongside Angelina Jolie in The Tourist. This romantic thriller, filmed over 11 months in Paris and Venice, left behind plenty of backstage anecdotes. Most famous was Jolie's request that the crew supply mints for Depp, as he smoked too heavily during their shared scenes. Though the film broke even financially, critics derided it for the lack of chemistry between its two superstars, and it quickly faded into obscurity. 2011 brought another bold experiment, Depp as a chameleon in the animated film Rango. Using motion capture, he not only voiced, but also physically acted out the character so animators could capture the data. The film was acclaimed, winning the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and became proof that Depp could breathe life into any form, even a quirky desert reptile. That same year, Depp returned to a personal passion with The Rum Diary, a project he considered a tribute to his friend and idol, Hunter S. Thompson. To coax director Bruce Robinson out of a 15-year retirement, Depp lured him with months of free living on a Caribbean island, complete with fine rum and wild nights in Puerto Rico. While the film wasn't a major box office hit, it left an intimate milestone. On this set, Depp met Amber Heard, who would later enter his life as a fiery love and eventually the most public tragedy in modern Hollywood. From The Rum Diary in 2011, where Depp still basked in old glory and began his fateful romance with Amber Heard, his cinematic journey shifted into stormier waters. Dark Shadows, 2012, his next collaboration with Burton, was heavily promoted but fell flat on release. Depp's Barnabas Collins was seen as overindulgent in appearance while hollow at the core. The film was a moderate success, but for critics, it signaled fatigue in the Burton-Depp formula. A year later, Depp placed a massive bet on The Lone Ranger, 2013. His portrayal of Tonto, with a dead bird perched on his head, was meant as a radical twist, but instead ignited outrage for distorting Native American culture. The film devoured hundreds of millions in production costs, but was derided as a lifeless clone of Pirates, resulting in huge losses for Disney. Johnny Depp, once the pioneer of the pirate era, was now seen as trapped in the very formula he had created. In the following years, a string of films failed to restore his fading image. Transcendence, 2014, an ambitious tale of artificial intelligence, quickly bombed. Depp dabbled in Kevin Smith's bizarre indies Tusk and Yoga Hosers, which only deepened doubts about his choices. In Into the Woods, 2014, his wolf was mocked as ridiculous, and by Mordecai, 2015, his eccentric gentleman act earned him a Golden Raspberry nomination. This string of misfires turned Depp from a box office guarantor into a symbol of fading stardom. Yet 2015 was not only about failure. Black Mass arrived as a fierce rebuttal to anyone who thought Depp had lost his craft. His portrayal of mob boss Whitey Bulger was transformative. Icy eyes, hardened demeanor, and makeup that made him chillingly unrecognizable. Unlike the quirky roles played for laughs, this time Depp delivered gravitas and genuine menace. Critics called it an artistic resurrection, one of the rare performances proving that, even when dismissed, Depp could still command the world's attention in silence. Even as his film career swung wildly, Johnny Depp never confined himself to cinema. Music and visual art remained the twin undercurrents sustaining him through his stormiest years. On film sets, Depp often contributed to the soundtracks, adding his personal touch. He played guitar in Chocolate, 2000, infused Latin riffs into Once Upon a Time in Mexico, 2003, and added raw acoustic notes in The Rum Diary, 2011. Even The Lone Ranger, 2013, a controversial flop, bore his musical fingerprint, showing that he always considered the guitar a second heartbeat alongside acting. Off-screen, Depp shared an unusual bond with Marilyn Manson. The two exchanged eccentric memorabilia. Depp once traded his wig from Blow for Manson's prosthetic breasts from the Mechanical Animals era. Their friendship was so close that Manson became godfather to Depp's daughter, Lily Rose. They even tattooed lines from Baudelaire's Les Fleurs du Mal, Flowers of Evil, and the rebellious phrase, No Reason. On stage, Depp often joined Manson on guitar for classics like The Beautiful People and Sweet Dreams, immersing himself in his friend's chaotic yet symbolic world. Depp's peak in music came in 2015 when he co-founded Hollywood Vampires with Alice Cooper and Joe Perry, a supergroup reviving the spirit of 1970s rock and roll. Their debut album featured 2 tracks written by Depp, warmly embraced by the rock community. He later collaborated with Jeff Beck on the album 18, 2022, and reaffirmed his stature with Live in Rio, 2023. From 2023 to 2025, Hollywood Vampires toured Europe extensively, astonishing crowds everywhere. Johnny Depp was not just a movie star, but a stage artist pouring himself fully into the guitar. If music was his roar, then painting was his whisper. In 2022, Depp unveiled the art series Friends and Heroes, portraits of close friends and personal icons. Within an hour, the collection sold out, earning over $3.6 million, a record that showed his artistic allure beyond film. In 2024, he experimented further with the Tarot series, infusing mystical symbols into his work. And by 2025, his exhibition Let the Light In at Castle Fine Art in London revealed 2 watercolor pieces inspired by Vanessa Paradis, his longest love. In those gentle brush strokes, audiences glimpsed a Johnny Depp few had ever seen. No longer the staggering Jack Sparrow or the ruthless Bulger, but a man quietly searching for light within his own memories. Stepping out of the rock and roll garages of his youth and into the harsh survival game of Los Angeles, Johnny Depp soon embarked on a turbulent journey of love, one where every relationship became both a launching pad and a wound that never fully healed. The first romance that left a lasting mark was with Lori Ann Allison, a makeup artist and the sister of the bassist in Depp's band at the time. They married in December 1983, when Depp was just 20 years old. The marriage unfolded while both were still struggling to find their footing. Money was scarce. Nights were spent sleeping in friends' cars or cramped apartments. Laurie was not only his wife, but the bridge that changed his destiny. She introduced him to Nicolas Cage, and through that, the door to film opened. Though their marriage ended in 1985, Laurie never turned her back on him. Years later, amid the storms of scandal, she publicly defended Depp, saying she had known him as a sensitive soul, not the monster the tabloids painted. After that short-lived marriage, Depp entered a string of romances with rising young actresses. He dated Sherilyn Fenn, who would later find fame in Twin Peaks. They met in the late 1980s when both were still struggling actors. It was a passionate, romantic time, with rumors of an engagement, but ultimately they parted quietly as their careers diverged. Around the same period, Depp also had a brief relationship with Jennifer Grey, the baby of Dirty Dancing. Grey later recalled that Depp was magnetic but restless, living in the unpredictable whirl of an artist, a storm that burned bright but short. The 1990s marked one of the most famous and haunting relationships of his life, Winona Ryder. They first met in 1989 at the premiere of Great Balls of Fire, and officially began dating after starring together in Edward Scissorhands. The couple quickly became Hollywood's most beloved fairy tale romance of the decade. Constantly photographed hand in hand at award shows, their gazes toward each other pure infatuation. To prove his love, Depp tattooed "Winona Forever" on his arm, a declaration of eternal devotion. But the pressures of fame, relentless filming schedules, personality clashes, and their youth took their toll. When they broke up in 1993, Depp altered the tattoo to read "We Know Forever," a bitter, self-mocking twist that turned a promise of forever into a wry joke about his own heartbreak. Still reeling from the breakup with Winona, Depp plunged into another tempestuous love affair, this time with supermodel Kate Moss. They met in 1994 at Café Tabac in New York, introduced by journalist George Wayne. Moss was immediately drawn to Depp's rebellious aura, while he was captivated by her wild, hypnotic beauty. Their relationship, lasting from 1994 to 1998, was a whirlwind of lavish parties, hotel room destruction, cigarettes, whiskey, and tabloid chaos. Beneath the glamour, though, was emotional volatility. Moss later confessed that Depp was the only man who truly understood and protected her, but also the one who repeatedly left her in tears. After the breakup, Depp spiraled into emptiness, and Moss took nearly a decade to recover from the heartbreak. Amid the wild storms of his 1990s love life, Johnny Depp unexpectedly found what seemed to be the calmest harbor of his life: Vanessa Paradis, the French singer and actress. They met in 1998 at the Hotel Costes in Paris while Depp was filming The Ninth Gate. It took only a glance, Vanessa entering the lobby with a soft smile and wind-swept blonde hair, for Depp to later say he felt struck by lightning. After years of chaos, he believed he had finally found the woman who could bring him back down to earth. Their love grew quietly, without the fanfare. Depp, once addicted to parties and tabloid headlines, began to withdraw, spending more time in France with Paradis than in Hollywood. In 1999, their daughter Lily Rose Melody Depp was born, and 3 years later, their son John Jack Christopher Depp III followed. Depp once said, "The moment Lily Rose was born, I knew the world no longer revolved around me." That line marked a profound shift, from a reckless wanderer to a devoted father who stayed up at night changing diapers and carried his children through the narrow streets of southern France. What was special about their relationship was that Depp and Paradis never legally married. When asked why, Depp replied, "A piece of paper can't make love any deeper." For them, their bond was stronger than any contract. For more than a decade, Vanessa Paradis was not only his partner but also his artistic muse. He painted her portraits, wrote songs for her, and even years later in his London exhibitions, her image remained a recurring motif. Yet their life together wasn't always peaceful. Depp was still an artist haunted by shadows, alcohol, cigarettes, and perpetual insecurity. Paradis tried to hold the family together, but distance grew as Depp needed to return to Hollywood while she preferred to raise their children quietly in France. During the 2000s, as Depp became the billion-dollar pirate of Pirates of the Caribbean, fame's pressure and endless filming schedules slowly eroded their bond. The breaking point came in 2007, when Lily Rose fell gravely ill and was hospitalized for a severe kidney infection. Depp halted all work to stay by her bedside. Though the family survived the crisis, the strain between Depp and Paradis deepened. Paradis later reflected, "We loved each other, but when two people choose different lives, sometimes love just isn't enough." In 2012, they officially announced their separation after 14 years together. There was no scandal, no courtroom drama, just a brief statement. But insiders said it was a breakup filled with tears. Paradis returned to France with their children, while Depp sank into a new spiral of chaos, this time with no arms left to catch him. For Depp, Vanessa Paradis was not only his longest love, but also the rare chapter in which he truly lived as a family man. Losing it left a void that nothing could fill. If his years with Vanessa Paradis were the calmest skies of Johnny Depp's life, then with Amber Heard, he entered a storm so fierce and bitter it turned his private world into a public battleground for all to see. They met in 2009 while filming The Rum Diary, but it wasn't until 2011, after Depp's split from Paradis, that the relationship truly began. Heard, young, glamorous, and embodying the modern femme fatale, brought a fiery energy utterly unlike the tranquility Depp had known with Paradis. The media celebrated them as Hollywood's new golden couple, a veteran icon and a rising star, her icy beauty contrasting with his bohemian charm. In February 2015, Depp and Heard held a small wedding at his Los Angeles mansion, followed by a celebration on his private island, Little Halls Pond Cay, in the Bahamas. For Depp, it symbolized a new beginning. For Heard, it was her grand entrance as the star's partner. But from the start, differences in age, lifestyle, and temperament were stark. Heard was vibrant and social. Depp, now in his 50s, carried old wounds and craved peace. Just 15 months after the wedding, everything collapsed. In May 2016, Heard filed for divorce and accused Depp of domestic violence, appearing in court with a bruised face. She demanded $50,000 per month in spousal support, shocking the world. Depp denied all allegations, claiming he was the true victim in many arguments, and presented counter-evidence, including recordings where Heard admitted, "I was the one who started the fight. I can't promise I won't do it again." In January 2017, the divorce was finalized. Heard received $7 million, which she publicly pledged to donate to charity. But later, whether that full donation was ever made became a major point of contention. The tragedy didn't end there. In 2020, Depp sued the Sun newspaper in the UK for labeling him a wife-beater. The trial drew enormous attention. Heard testified as the main witness, while Depp countered with numerous statements denying abuse. In the end, the UK court ruled that Heard's claims were substantially true, and Depp lost the case. The consequences were immediate. Warner Brothers forced him to step down from the role of Gellert Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts, one of the most devastating blows to his career. Refusing to surrender, Depp took the battle to the United States. From April to June 2022, the world watched the Virginia trial, where Depp sued Heard over her 2018 Washington Post op-ed, implying she was a victim of domestic abuse. The 6-week proceedings became a global spectacle, live-streamed to millions, with social media flooded under justice for Johnny Depp. The jury ultimately sided with Depp. Heard was ordered to pay $10 million in compensatory damages and $350,000 in punitive damages under Virginia law. Heard won one of her counterclaims and was awarded $2 million. By December 2022, the two reached a final settlement. Heard paid Depp $1 million, which he announced he would donate entirely to 5 charities, closing 7 exhausting years of litigation. The relationship that began with passion ended in bitterness, leaving behind not only personal wounds, but one of the most publicized legal battles in Hollywood history. Depp once said bitterly, "The worst prison is a home that's lost its peace." For Heard, the scandal stalled her career. For Depp, it meant not only professional and reputational loss, but also the deepest emotional scar of his life. A reminder that fame can't always save a heart from breaking. After closing out the Amber Heard litigation at the end of 2022, Johnny Depp walked out of the courtroom like a survivor. But behind the image of a comeback, the cold numbers revealed another truth. He was both one of the highest-paid stars and a man who had thrown money into the fire. In 2012, Johnny Depp was listed by Guinness World Records as the world's highest-paid actor, a record that affirmed his pull and peak status in Hollywood. Around the same time, the Jack Sparrow persona became Disney's money printer. From about $10 million for the first installment, Depp's pay shot up to $90 million for the 5th, bringing his total take for the role to roughly $265 million. The entire Pirates of the Caribbean series grossed over $4.5 billion worldwide, while Alice in Wonderland 2010 alone netted Depp a $55 million paycheck. Those figures made him one of the most valuable male actors of his era. After the Amber Heard trials, Johnny Depp still proved the strength of his brand. In 2023, he signed a massive deal with Dior, $20 million over 3 years to continue as the face of the Sauvage fragrance. The campaign at Cannes and other international events showed that Depp remained a global icon, despite years of scandal casting a shadow. Yet even such colossal fees could not rescue Depp from the financial whirlpools created by his own lavish lifestyle. Legal documents revealed staggering expenses, around $30,000 a month on wine, $200,000 on private jets, $150,000 on security, and over $300,000 to pay 40 full-time staff. The peak of extravagance was the time he spent $3 million to blast the ashes of his friend Hunter S. Thompson into the sky with fireworks, a grandiose gesture seen both as loyalty and as proof of financial mismanagement. Those outlays, along with years of litigation, pushed Depp into turmoil. He sued his management company TMG for alleged mismanagement and asset losses, while the company countersued, claiming Depp was the one living recklessly. The result, hundreds of millions of dollars evaporated. Today, even with major contracts and real estate holdings, Johnny Depp's net worth is estimated at only about $150 to $200 million. Compared with the billions in box office revenue he once generated for Hollywood, that number lays bare a harsh truth. Jack Sparrow's glow can't save a star from real-life storms. More bitter still, losing the role in Pirates 6 cost Depp another $22.5 million, like a sad full stop to the character that took him to the summit. Despite the hundreds of millions that vanished in lavish living and lawsuits, Johnny Depp has kept a number of special properties, not just places to live, but sanctuaries of the spirit. Each is tied to a period of his life, a slice of a tumultuous existence. In 2014, he spent about $13 million on a historic estate in Somerset, in southwest England. The property spans 344 hectares, encircled by old stone walls, rolling meadows, and a dairy farm. By 2025, the estate was valued at roughly $25 million, but for Depp, that figure mattered less than the freedom it offered. In a rare chat with Somerset Life, he admitted he is shy by nature and truly comfortable only where he isn't scrutinized. There, he can browse farmers' markets, pick produce himself, then go home to cook French dishes, a habit he picked up during his years with Vanessa Paradis. He spends hours painting, recording guitar lines in a quiet room, and considers being able to walk country lanes without being disturbed a true luxury. But Somerset is only one slice of the places that define Depp. Since 2004, he has owned Little Hall's Pond Cay, a private island in the Bahamas purchased for $3.6 million. The homes on the island run entirely on solar power, and the 6 surrounding beaches were named after loved ones: Vanessa, Lily Rose, Jack, and Keith Richards, the friend and template Depp drew on to create Jack Sparrow. Although he later sold the island, for Depp it remains a repository of family memories and deep friendships. For years, Johnny also kept the yacht Vajoli Roja, its name formed from Vanessa, Johnny, Lily Rose, Jack, as a symbol of the family when it was still intact. Its deck once hosted parties with close friends, nights drunk on music, and rare private moments with his children. The yacht was later sold to J.K. Rowling, but the story attached to it remains a nostalgic slice of Depp's life. Ostentatious, yes, but also full of personal sentiment the public seldom sees. Not only in Europe or the Bahamas, Johnny Depp also owns a private kingdom in the heart of Los Angeles. On the city's hills, he bought a compound on 2.75 acres, with a main house of nearly 7,000 square feet containing 8 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms. It's surrounded by multiple auxiliary structures, bringing the total number of bedrooms to around 35-40. The entire complex is designed as a Hollywood oasis: a movie theater, gym, music studio, infrared sauna, a solar-heated pool, and an outdoor kitchen with a wood-fired pizza oven. 2 separate casitas, each with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, offer privacy for guests, while a converted stable serves as management offices and a tack room, evoking a hint of the cowboy image Depp once portrayed. A 4-car garage and fully upgraded electrical, plumbing, HVAC, fire safety, security, and AV systems turn the place into a modern fortress. In the city center, Depp once owned a string of penthouses in the Eastern Columbia building, an Art Deco landmark of downtown LA. He gradually sold them off, totaling around $12.7 million. One standout duplex, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, sold for $1.38 million. Rooftop amenities include a saltwater pool, spa, and gym, spaces that blended luxury with the discreet lifestyle Depp tried to preserve in a noisy metropolis. Alongside real estate, Johnny Depp is a bona fide car enthusiast. From the daily driver Cadillac Escalade ESV to the speed-hungry Ferrari 488 Spider, from the plush Maybach sedan to the power symbol Rolls-Royce Cullinan, his garage mixes utility, style, and a touch of showmanship, much like the roles he has shape-shifted through on screen. Amid the dazzling figures surrounding mansions, penthouses, and luxury cars, few realize that Johnny Depp has devoted a significant part of his heart to philanthropy. He doesn't do it loudly or turn it into a PR campaign. Instead, he quietly appears where his presence and compassion are most needed. As early as 2006, Depp joined the Courage to Care campaign of the Children's Hospital Los Angeles, CHLA. A decade later, he took part in the Healing and Hope 2016 program, raising awareness for children undergoing long-term treatment. And when the NFT wave hit, Depp launched the Never Fear Truth collection, donating nearly $800,000 to various organizations, from CHLA, the Perth Children's Hospital Foundation, and Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, to Robert Downey Jr.'s Footprint Coalition. After the long legal battle with Amber Heard, the $1 million settlement she paid at the end of 2022 was divided by Depp among 5 charities: the Make a Film Foundation, the Painted Turtle, the Tetiaroa Society, Red Feather, and the Amazonia Fund Alliance. It wasn't just a gesture of closure, but a declaration that everything he gained from the scandal would be turned into opportunities for others. Depp has also participated in numerous charity concerts. One of the most notable was his performance with Rod Stewart to raise funds for the Celia Hammond Animal Trust, which brought in around $300,000. He has also supported the Bright Foundation in the UK by auctioning autographed artwork and 3 iconic costumes from his films. Perhaps the most moving image of Johnny Depp, however, is when he appears as Captain Jack Sparrow, not on set, but in children's hospitals around the world. He enters wards in full costume, slurring his speech and wobbling as he walks, making sick children laugh. On several occasions, he even recorded personal videos for individual patients, as if Jack Sparrow had stepped off the screen to be their companion during their toughest moments. After years of turbulence, Johnny Depp began returning to cinema with projects that demanded both public and critical attention. The first major highlight was Jeanne du Barry, in which he portrayed King Louis XV. The film opened the 2023 Cannes Film Festival, and Depp's appearance on the red carpet after years of absence drew a nearly 7-minute standing ovation. Though critical responses were mixed, the film grossed around $4 million in France, proving that Depp's name still carries undeniable cinematic magnetism. Not stopping at acting, Depp also stepped behind the camera. With Maudit, a film he directed about painter Amedeo Modigliani, Depp presented the project at the San Sebastian Film Festival in September 2024 before its European release in 2025. Though box office earnings were modest, about $500,000 across several markets, the film drew attention for featuring Al Pacino and signaled Depp's search for a cinematic language of his own, rather than clinging to past glory. Yet the most talked-about comeback is Day Drinker, reportedly Depp's major return to the big screen. Some sources claim the film is directed by Mark Webb and shot in Spain in 2025, featuring a cast that includes Penelope Cruz, Melanie Laurent, some reports list Melina Clen E, Manu Rios, Aaron Piper, and Juan Diego Botto. Images of Depp with long hair and a thick beard had fans exclaiming that he was almost unrecognizable. Meanwhile, other outlets insist it is a new Terry Gilliam project, and rumors even suggest Depp will play Satan in Carnival at the End of Days, 2025, a role perfectly in tune with his lifelong fascination for rebellious, eccentric characters. Beyond film, Depp continues to live out his original dream through music. With Hollywood Vampires, the band he co-founded with Alice Cooper and Joe Perry, he remains the guitarist, touring regularly across Europe. In 2025, they continue bringing their sound to audiences while promoting their cover of People Who Died. A reminder that music remains the place where Johnny Depp finds the purest truth about himself. More than 4 decades in film and music have made Johnny Depp's legacy far greater than box office numbers. Not only one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood history, he also redefined how an actor can transcend the image of an idol to become a truly free artist. Depp turned what was originally written as a mere comic relief pirate into one of cinema's most recognizable figures, Jack Sparrow. With over $4.5 billion in global revenue, that single character brought Depp roughly $265 million in earnings and created a pop culture legacy that refuses to fade. More importantly, Jack Sparrow proved that even eccentric, hard-to-sell characters, when infused with genuine soul, can become timeless icons. Depp's influence goes far beyond his performances. It lies in the way he constantly challenged convention. From Edward Scissorhands to Ed Wood, from Donnie Brasco to Sweeney Todd, he consistently chose outsiders, misfits, and outcasts, and made them the heart of the story. Through them, Depp declared that art isn't meant to please the majority, but to expose the hidden, uncomfortable corners of humanity that audiences often avoid. Beyond cinema, Depp has left his mark in music and visual art. With Hollywood Vampires, rock fans regard him as a genuine musician, not an actor dabbling in music. His recent art exhibitions, from Friends and Heroes to Let the Light In, 2025, have shown that he found a new creative outlet beyond the screen. Selling millions of dollars worth of artwork within hours, his paintings have become part of a new artistic legacy, personal, unfiltered, and reflective of the lives and loves that shaped him. Perhaps Johnny Depp's greatest legacy isn't in awards or box office totals, but in his endurance after devastation. After a violent childhood, broken relationships, decades under scrutiny, and a 7-year legal war. He stands as proof that an artist can lose everything, fame, fortune, glory, and still find a way back through silence, music, and the simple act of creation. That journey has turned him into a symbol of a rare form of artistry, the art of survival. Johnny Depp, from a lost boy in a fractured childhood to the star who dazzled the world in Pirates of the Caribbean, has now chosen to live quietly, seeking peace after the storms. His story is not just one of triumph and collapse, but a reminder that true happiness sometimes lies not in applause, but in the courage to step back and preserve what remains pure within oneself. Who do you see Johnny Depp as today? A legendary artist, an unrepentant rebel, or a man finally learning how to be at peace? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to join us, where every story shines not only with fame, but also with the darkness, tragedy, and truth behind the light.